Hi, this is Amy. Thanks so much for stopping by this evening. Tonight I'm going to be painting a Plumeria flower, and I'm going to start off by actually doing the leaves, which are in the background. I'm going to be using yellow citron and Thicket. All of these are folk art enamels. For the flower part, oh I'm sorry, back up here. I'm also going to be using flow medium when I'm creating the leaves. And then for the flower part, I'm going to be using, this is yellow ochre and wicker white. And then I'm also going to add a touch of coffee bean to the flower petals. So let's get started. I'm going to be using a number 12 flat brush, folk art enamel brush, or I'm sorry, not folk art enamel, but one stroke brush. Love the one stroke brushes. They are nice quality and they last forever if you take care of them. I'm going to double load my paintbrush with the Thicket and the yellow citron. Sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly. And then put a touch of the flow medium on the brush too. And like I said, I'm going to start off by doing the background leaves, and they're just basically some basic leaves, and they're going to be longer, pointier leaves, and not real one strokey as far as actually, you know, doing a basic one stroke kind of painting. It's just going to be combining the two colors with the flow medium and kind of going around in a circular design to create the petals that will be underneath the actual flower petals. And really, this is not a brush stroke kind of a demo as far as the leaves go, because like I said, they're just basically painting the two different colors and getting it to blend and look the way you want it to look. So this part should be easy if you know how to make a basic leaf shape. There's so many different styles of leaves, you know, just a longer, kind of fuller leaf. Just kind of blending it in somewhat. And you can go back in and touch it up and get it to look the way you want it to look. So this part will take a little longer. Because I'm not doing it the regular way I show you my leaves. There's so many different ways to make leaves too. I mean, you can add some shading or have them dark with a little bit of light in the center. Trying to keep my point, the tip of the leaf pointed, if at all possible. And I'm doing this sample on another piece of palette paper. This design that I'm doing can be painted really on anything, you know, whether it's glass or wood. It's really not meant for anything specific. It's just a brush stroke kind of tutorial for you. And then what you're going to find is that the floral part will be in the center. of this combination of leaves. And I like kind of doing the random painting on these. You know, there's really no set way to do them, just combining the two different colors is fine. The basic thing is trying to keep the shape of the leaf right. I have a tendency to make my leaves certain ways, and they all seem to look very similar, even though I'm trying to put a sharper point on them. And if you're someone who likes to kind of paint out your designs beforehand, you can do that as well, so you get the layout the way you want it to be. And if you want, you can try to figure out the direction of the sunlight or of the light focus on your leaves, so that you can do, you know, the proper shading. On this, I'm just kind of just doing them randomly. It's not really focused in any particular direction as far as the light source goes. And as many of you know from my previous videos, I really like to use folk art enamels for just about any of my painting. Oops, didn't realize I had two pieces of paper here. So that's kind of why I'm doing that for this. These bigger leaves kind of remind me of pickles for some reason. Just so relaxing to paint. You know, whether you are just practicing, I really like this palette paper because the flow of the brush is so nice on it. Or waxed paper, as I've mentioned before in some of my videos, I think is a great product to practice on. And like I said, the intent of this design is to kind of be in a circular, you know, circular setting. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can have taller leaves on top if you want, and shorter ones on the bottom. If you want to go back in, since we are using some flow medium, you can go back in and try to put, you know, more dark, some more dark contrast in your leaves if you want to do that. One more shading. The flow medium will allow you to work a little bit longer with the paint. I like that though. I mean, I think it's fine. Like I said, with this series that I'm doing, it's more of just the brush stroke and showing you all the likes of this really isn't a brush stroke technique. But then when I add the flowers, it kind of will be. And I really don't use flow medium a whole lot for this purpose of the bigger flowers I am, or the bigger, not flowers, but leaves I am. it's just kind of fun if you want to go back in and add some of the yellow citron, you can. And this is just pretty easy, pretty basic stuff. Really, anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. That's all I gotta say about that. Alright, we're almost done with this part. And then basically I'm just gonna add some stemming in the middle here. Gonna tie these together. Just some light, easy strokes with very little pressure. And then if you're going to do it this way, you really need to allow it to dry before you go back over it, or you can hit it with a hair dryer or a drying tool if you have a tool to dry your paintings quicker. I'm just going to go ahead and let this dry for a little bit before I come back in and add the flowers to it. So I hope you like this video. Just remember, if you do, please subscribe to my channel. I do a variety of different paintings, brushstroke kind of things, designs, painted designs, painting on glass. Sometimes I'll show you when I'm painting on one of my bridal hangers. I do a little bit of wire work, just a little combination of things that I'm actually interested in on my channel. So keep in mind that if you want to continue to see my videos or get notifications, click on the bell so that you know when I am submitting a new video. Make sure you give my videos a big thumbs up and share. Alright, so now we're going to get started painting the actual flower petals of the Plumeria. And I'm going to use, again, for those petals, I'm going to use the folk art enamels in white. I am going to use the yellow ochre. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of coffee bean. And sunflower will be a little dot in the middle, and I might add a little bit of the coffee bean to the dot as well. Now with placement of this, it's basically going to be on the leaves, this grouping of leaves. And it doesn't have to be filled out completely. You'll want some of the leaves showing. Most of the flowers will be within the center, and then a few trailing petals, up in here and then down in this direction. And what I'm doing on this is that the Wicker White and the the yellow ochre are going to be the main paints that I'm using for the flower petals. But then I'm going to actually just add a little bit of the coffee bean to the edge where I put the yellow ochre. So I'm basically double loading my brush and then just tipping my brush into the coffee bean. And with this type of petal, you're going to want to be able to turn your paper. This would not be a good petal to paint if you're on something that you cannot move, and which means like a wall or something to that effect. I'm trying to get a nice edge there. This is basically a teardrop petal. Need to overlap your petals a little bit when you're doing this. A lot of times you'll find that you're not going to be overlapping. You're going to have your petals either right beside each other or maybe a little space in between. But on this type of flower, the petals do actually overlap. And as I mentioned, you will need to continue to move your paper around or your wood or whatever you're painting on as you're creating this type of a flower. trying to get nice crisp edges here. I may have to go over my flower petals more than once. I see, just by tipping it into the coffee bean, you're actually getting three colors, or two colors basically in the center. And when you get to this point, if you want the original petal that you painted to actually look like, got a little bit too much on there, a little anxious with the coffee bean, you can actually go over this petal again, but you have to make sure you cover it completely. And also, and I keep forgetting to say this when I'm doing my videos, I am a lefty, so the direction I start in might be different than what you start in. I typically go around to the left. You may find yourself, if you're a right-handed person, you will start to the right and go around that direction. So keep that in mind. A lot of what I show you, you might be doing it the opposite direction as opposed to how I'm doing it. Alright, so I'm just going to continue adding these 5 to 6 layer petals. And like I said, the edges of this one is rough, so I'm really basically going to go over it. So I'm pushing my brush down and swing it around. And you can actually overlap your flowers a little bit, because you know in real life, when you have a bundle of flowers or a flower arrangement, they're not just separated. They're kind of bunched up and overlapping each other and whatnot. It's pretty easy. Like, so most of these strokes and the stroke work are pretty easy to do. I'm just trying to take my time. Normally I always feel like I'm rushed because I always have so much going on. I'm trying very hard to slow down a little bit when I'm doing these demos and actually take my time. But like I said, if you want to leave it like that, that's fine. No problem with that at all. And they don't have to all look the same, and that's fine too. You want to go over this petal again, make it a little bit bigger. But I like this paper. You know, it tends to flow very nicely on this paper. You know, your paint and your brush. And like I said, I'm going to keep continuing to add this on. It overlaps just a little bit, and that's fine. So with this combination, it's kind of making the outer petals look a little off-white or light brown. You don't have to keep cleaning your brush out either. You can just keep going with the brush without brushing it out. I like to continue to add a lot of paint. I've also been told that you don't have to keep adding paint, but you know, you have to be careful not to have too much paint, because then that's not good either. But I really like for my paint to flow nicely, and I find that the more I have on my brush, the better the flow consistency is. But then it also, if you have too much paint on your brush, can add to having puddles of paint. So whatever works best for you. I think this is a pretty flower. I mean, if you wanted to use different combinations, you could, or maybe not have as much of the brown touching as I do. It's maybe more of a slight I like the added color to the flower personally, so that's why I'm sticking with it. And again, you're just set your brush up on the top and pushing your brush around and just swinging it around. In for the home. Alright, then leave that one just like that. And you can leave a little bit of this showing in the middle. It doesn't have to all be covered up. And I probably will leave a little bit of that open. If you like this video, make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you can see more. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and share. I am trying to build my channel. I would appreciate the sharing. The more the merrier, I say. And if there's anything specific you'd like to see created, please let me know. I'm just trying to do random brush strokes and all, trying to come up with some different things to keep doing. I covered over my center. Bloop, bloop. You could leave that open if you wanted to. I guess I didn't want to because I covered it up. I'm not sure what happened there. Paint dripped. Alright, and then this is just going to be like a little trailing bud. Like I said, I didn't get the edges quite as smooth as I wanted. So I'm going to go on and do it again. And did it again. Actually, it's time for me to get some new brushes. Just have to take the time to order them. Like how that finished either. Okay. And then I'm going to just let a few trailing ones down this direction. And I could try, take my paper around, but I think right now I'm just going to leave it this direction. A little partial petal there. And another little one over here. And if one doesn't turn out the way you want it, don't be afraid to go over it again. Or like say on this one, I want to go ahead and turn the paper, that's fine too. Don't be afraid of it. That's one thing fun about painting, is that you can go over it, redo it, go over it, whatever you'd like to do. When you're painting on glass, it's so easy just to wash it off and start all over again. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at that. Then the next thing I want to do is take the tip of my paintbrush and then put in some little dots here. Lots of partial dots, whatever comes out. And you can wait till it dries, or you can go ahead and add your dots in the center. They don't have to be perfectly. If you want them to be perfect dots, then, you know, wait till the paint dries a little bit. It'll be a little bit easier to do that way. And then go back in. Like I said, they don't have to be perfect. But because I haven't let the paint dry, the paint's actually there, mixing in with it. Just fine, because you know what? I'm going to go ahead and add some of that back into it. And that's the coffee bean. Just put a little bit next to it. And there you go. Like I said, I should have left some of the little stems showing inside there, but I didn't. This is the basics for it though. If you want to, you know, create a little bouquet of the Plumeria, this is how you would go about doing it. As I mentioned, if you'd like to do it maybe in a different color scheme, that's great. You know, knock yourself out. It's paint, and that's why it's easy to do different colors. You know, they don't have to actually be the typical color for that plant or flower. Just make it your own. Have fun with it, and that's the main thing for doing the painting. Have a girls' night out. Have people come over and paint. There's so much you can do with it, but the main thing is just have fun. So I hope you like this video. Once again, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so now. Give me a big thumbs up if you like this video, and then please share it. I'd appreciate it. Until the next video, have a good night.